Awesome. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending today's webinar introducing AssetWorks ELD. My name is Mary Ellen Kennedy, and I'll be moderating for today's presentation. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a second, but first, I would like to say that we're very excited to have Jason Moore and Mike Coble from the AssetWorks team with us as presenters today. So during today's presentation, Jason is going to walk you through all things about our certified ELD solution, including its many features and benefits, as well as how you can capitalize on your ELD investment to achieve even more of your organization's goals through technology. But before I pass things over to Jason, I want to give everybody a quick heads up. The microphones have been muted, so if any of you have questions at any time during the presentation, you can use the Webex Chat tool. You should all see the chat icon located on your screen, and this acts as an instant messaging tool. Please feel free to use the Webex Chat tool to enter any questions during the presentation. Make sure you send them to host, that's me, and I'll be happy to field and relay them to Jason and Mike at the conclusion of the presentation for a brief Q&A session. So with that said, I think we're ready to get started. Jason, we can see your screen and we're ready to go.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Good day, everyone. I'd like to say thank you all for taking the time to join our webinar to discuss electronic logging devices, ELDs. We do appreciate it. Speaking of time, our webinar will go approximately 30 minutes with 10 minutes for questions. My name is Jason Moore, Enterprise Sales Manager with AssetWorks, and along with Mike Coble, our Director of Sales and Marketing, we'll spend 20 minutes discussing a very hot topic that has the trucking industry talking and scrambling to take the next step in their fleet management journey. There are two goals for this webinar. One, that you all gain some knowledge on ELD in Canada, and two, that you gain confidence in AssetWorks as an ELD solution partner. Let's get started. Our agenda today is as follows. After a brief introduction to AssetWorks, we'll discuss the Canadian ELD mandate, which states that all commercial vehicles over 4,550 kilograms must have a certified ELD in place by January 1st, 2023. This is the rule as we know it today. AssetWorks has been in the ELD space for several years and have a certified ELD for our Canadian partners to implement. It is called BizTrax. There are driver portals as well as an administration portal. We can go into more detail later if needed. With respect to hardware, there are two key pieces. The black box, the modem in the vehicle, this is what gets certified. The screen that the drivers utilize to enter the logbook and other details. To wrap up our webinar today, we'll go beyond the ELD and discuss how to leverage your investment so it becomes a source of ROI, not just an expense. Who is AssetWorks? The key takeaway here, folks, is this. AssetWorks is not a flash-in-the-pan ELD company. We have been in business for decades, since 1990 in fact, and we'll be here for decades to come. A partner you can count on to be there. While we are a global organization, our focus today is on the Canadian marketplace with a specific need, ELD. With partners like these, who demand more than a minimum viable product, AssetWorks is ready to show the marketplace our ELD offering, BizTrax. The details, the fine print. Those of us who have been following the Canadian ELD mandate know the deadline to be compliant has been a moving target, and for good reason. The first deadline of June 12th of 2021 was never going to stick because it was well into 21 before the federal government appointed the first certifying body. So they added a full year to the deadline, which was recently extended to January 1st, 2023. This timeline should not change. And on the bottom of the page there, you can see and easily find on the Government of Canada's Transport Canada website, AssetWorks offering for ELD, BizTrax, which is fully certified for use in Canada. So let's drill down into our ELD offering and what AssetWorks brings to the table. We offer a diverse rule set and support across all of North America. Drivers and admin staff can see live data in real time. Drivers know when they gain time and get real-time warnings. The driver can use the same screen they view, edit, and certify logs on to manage their trailer as well. The key to remember, folks, is this. AssetWorks ELD is certified. For our Canadian-based fleets, AssetWorks ELD offers an oil well service permit, Alberta provincial rule set. How many other ELDs offer this? And of course, all other Canadian federal rule sets are supported. If your business takes your trucks into the USA, AssetWorks has you covered with 38 federal and state rule sets supported. What does the driver see? Well, there are rules about what needs to be displayed on the ELD main screen. As you can see, we make it easy for the driver to navigate through the ELD software. The home screen has big buttons and color-coded for ease of use. They can, with a glance, see how much drive time they have left, start a break, or complete a DVIR. They can see these details while logged into the ELD software in their vehicle, or they can log into the driver portal from home to certify their logs. Status changes are automatic for driving and not driving statuses. Other status changes, such as sleeper berth, are all easily completed using the driver interface. As stated earlier, AssetWorks offering in the ELD space is more than a minimum viable product. We also offer an options page to give our partners more functionality in their ELD software, like work orders. There are variable available time views. There's a section to manage trailers and shipments. And drivers easily know when they gain time. Every ELD will have a grid view, and VizTrack's grid view has all the necessary details without the messy scribbles from drivers, making audits, whether for a single driver or all of your drivers, very easy with a few mouse clicks. With distracting driving laws in place, we can lock the screen while the vehicle is in motion, so it displays time only, but still allow alerts to come through. Roadside inspections are a simple icon click away. We make it easy for the driver to enter roadside inspection mode with a simple icon on their screen to select, but not as easy for the DOT officer. They'll have to do their job and look for violations. Exceptions are unnecessary on occasion, and AssetWorks ELD has this covered. Drivers can add an exception when the situation warrants, and as you can see from the list, VizTrack has the oil well service permit exception. While a driver cannot edit their drive time, they can, however, edit other aspects of their logs, such as on-duty and off-duty status. The driver can make these edits via the driver portal on VizTrack's website, all from their smartphone. Here is an example of an edit being done, and just like paper, any edits made to a driver's log must have notes explaining the change. For example, I forgot to log off yesterday after work, so I inserted an off-duty status for yesterday at 6 p.m. as my log showed me on duty not driving all night. Taking a break and logging it into your ELD is also accounted for with VizTrack. Again, you make it super easy for the driver to go through their daily routine with substituting a touchscreen to document everything they do instead of paper. We have heard the word certify so much with respect to ELDs, and drivers must certify their electronic logs as well. This can be done via the application on the device in the vehicle, or later via the driver portal on their phone from the comfort of their favorite chair. We all know drivers are paid to drive, and sometimes they make mistakes with paperwork. It happens. Well, an ELD is not safe from driver mistakes. They'll make mistakes here too. Fear not, a well-trained admin staff can help, as the ELD software is designed to eliminate errors. And trust me, it does eliminate many driver errors. But now drivers have ELD mistakes to make. Different mistakes, but mistakes nonetheless. The most common ELD mistake we hear about is drivers forgetting to log out at the end of their shift. Driver's gone for the weekend, but the admin person still has access to all the details as it relates to every driver's duty cycle. So when they make an edit to a driver's log, because changes need the driver's approval, they can send logbook corrections to the driver, who in turn can approve them on their phone, and all is well with the logs. With this access, an administrative person can easily and quickly run audits, make edits, and have access to a wide range of reports. Reports like an availability report, where they can see all drivers' remaining drive time, or a violations report, where they quickly know who has committed any violations, so you can be proactive instead of reactive. Here are more details on the software feature set available to administrators. This allows for the full management of logs and drivers. Anyone with any number of drivers know that paper-based duty cycle management is very labor-intensive and time-consuming. AssetWorks certified ELD software takes this pain away with user-friendly, intuitive software for both driver and administrative staff. Here are some screenshots from the administration module showing a grid view on the left and a last reported status on the right. A few more screenshots highlighting reports in the software and a sample of an employee's driving violations. Can you see how this would make driver and duty cycle management much simpler? Before I continue, if anyone on the call would like to see a live demonstration of AssetWorks ELD software, BizTracks, please reach out and let us know. We would welcome the opportunity to show you more. So we talked a lot about the software side of ELD. Now it's time to dive into the hardware component. Let's face it, trucks on the road today have a lot of technology and gadgets in their cabs, from a music radio to a CB radio, radar detectors to bobbleheads, a phone mounted to the dash, and now a tablet to manage their logbooks. They have no shortage of devices to distract them in the cab. The hardware that AssetWorks BizTracks software certification is based on is the ME87, which is not much bigger than a box of matches. Super simple installation with both light and heavy-duty applications. To be certified, an ELD must connect to the vehicle's engine control module, the ECM. And AssetWorks has cables for every ECM application, 6-pin, 9-pin, OBD2, and more. The connection to the screen is via Bluetooth, so no extra wiring is needed. And yes, it also provides all you need from a telematics standpoint as well. As stated previously, the black box, the ME87 from the previous slide, is what got certified. But the driver does all their input on a screen of some type. Herein lies the beauty of AssetWorks ELD offering. A plug-and-play, certified modem connected to the screen of your choice. It could be a driver smartphone, maybe a tablet, a bring your own device tablet, or one supplied by AssetWorks, such as the Samsung Galaxy, or the VT7 Pro rugged tablet, also supplied by AssetWorks. I must note that the smartphone and tablet-based hardware would require an Android operating system. There are pros and cons to the various hardware platforms, and in our experience, rugged devices perform best. Therefore, AssetWorks recommend the VT7 Pro tablet, mainly because it is super rugged. You want it to last, right? The VT7 Pro is the best hardware platform to deploy your ELD with, as it also gives you control. You control what goes on the tablet. There's no YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify, just the software they need to get the job done. With a tablet issued to each truck, there's no concern if the driver paid their phone bill this month. Did they bring a charger? Is the screen broken so badly that they cannot see it clearly? All of these concerns are gone with the VT7 Pro tablet. You can also leverage the hardware to perform other tasks, such as work orders, which I'll discuss when we get to beyond ELD. I'll give you one more reason that makes deploying a tablet for ELD a better hardware platform than utilizing driver phones, and it's liability. The challenge with driver phones is knowing what's on the driver's phone. They have all sorts of apps to distract them, and because it is their phone, they'll want full access. This means they'll still get calls. They're still going to get texts. What if they respond to a text and cause an accident? Who do they blame? Well, they blame the ELD, of course, as it was the source of the driver distraction that caused the accident, even if the driver was texting at the time. With the VT7 Pro, you are in control of driver distraction from the ELD because they cannot access any programs on that tablet while the vehicle is in motion, even if you allowed YouTube on the tablet. The message is clear. Having a consistent platform across the fleet makes it easier to manage and support. One box, the ME87, and one screen, the BT7 Pro for all. Well, folks, that was a high-level description of AssetWorks ELD solution, BizTrax. But what about everything else? How do you manage maintenance? Does integration with other third-party software create efficiencies? How do you get work detail out to and back from the field? There are many ways a partnership with AssetWorks can help. Let's talk about leveraging your ELD investment to do more than manage logbooks. As I said earlier, the goal of our software is to provide a real return on your investment, not just be a commodity, necessary evil, more than that dang ELD, and much more than just dots on a map. The obvious other functionality needed is a daily vehicle inspection report. AssetWorks offers standard DVIRs from National Safety Council and from federal motor carriers, as well as custom DVIRs for specialized equipment. AssetWorks DVIR has built-in logic to aid decision-making for drivers. Like if the driver says the air brakes have a leak, the software will state that they should not drive the truck. Trailer tracking is another common requirement for fleet management. AssetWorks has several options to meet your need, from cellular and satellite-based solutions to battery and solar-powered options, and reporting rates from 1 ping per day to 60-second reporting. Based on your application, we can recommend the right fit solution. I personally feel that AssetWorks field ticketing dispatch module is what sets AssetWorks apart from our competition. You get real-time data that reduces billing cycles, reduced errors and omissions, and no more lost tickets. There are many ways to implement an e-ticketing solution, and AssetWorks has the experience and staff to help streamline paper-intensive processes. We have the ability to integrate with other third-party software, whether from a partner of yours, like a producer such as CNRL, or some other back-office ERP software. Chances are we have seen it before. If you dispatch work to the field, I suggest you investigate e-ticketing. Your driver and business partners will thank you for it. There can be a lot of paper in a truck. ELD books, DVIR books, ticket, work order books, truck binders, job site assessments, so much paper. What if a component of any of these books changes and you just got 10 cases of said book? As you can see here, job site assessment is just an example of another paper form or booklet that you can make electronic or digital. Fuel, oh my goodness, diesel is $1.80 a liter. $200 to fill my truck. Fuel is likely the highest cost for fleet-based companies next to payroll. AssetWorks software has a fuel management component to help rein in these costs. This is where we get creative. Being in this space for as long as we have, again since 1990, we have taken many notes along the way and learned what is important to business owners. The high cost of fuel and the global supply chain issues stretching out lead times for parts, fleet utilization is more important than ever, and we have the tools to help. I mentioned a truck binder earlier. This is an example of what it might contain. How would you update a truck binder today? You'd update the file, print however many copies you need, and ship it out to each and every truck to be added to the binder. Again, labor-intensive, time-consuming, and expensive. As a digital file, it is much easier to manage, update, and distribute truck binders in real time. For me, lone worker is like a parachute. Sure, it's nice to have when you need it. In rare cases, a life is saved. In most cases, it is time and money that is saved when a missed check-in makes the phone vibrate or ring. That person learns quickly that John is okay and simply missed a check-in. No need to wake anyone else or send in the cavalry. Speaking of check-ins, that's my cue to check in and once again say thank you for your time today. And are there any questions?
Great. Thank you, Jason. So now we're going to open up the floor to some of your questions. So just a reminder, if you have any more questions at this time, please send them to host using the Webex Chat tool on your screen. Provided that we have enough time, I'll pass your question over to Jason and he'll be happy to give you an answer. So Jason, we did have a couple questions come through, so I'll just get started. So what does a typical ELD deployment process look like?
Very good question. It starts off with a meeting, whether that's over the face-to-face meeting or a Webex meeting, a Teams meeting, where we kind of get a better understanding of your processes to learn what it is you're looking for in a solution, and then plan the project accordingly.
All right, great. And another one along the same lines, but how long does a typical deployment process take?
Depending on the size of the project, whether it's 10 trucks or 1,000 trucks, that plays a big factor. Access to hardware availability, access and availability to the trucks for installation. It varies depending on the project and the size and scope of the project. If it's a simple ELD, smaller fleet, it can be 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a larger fleet, it could be stretched out to be much longer.
And I imagine that the supply chain issues kind of come into play there too, where should organizations try to make an ELD decision sooner rather than later to avoid those delays?
We are noticing this in the marketplace right now. Actually, lead times with each and every order are being extended because as the deadline looms and approaches, more and more people are jumping on board to get compliant. And that, unfortunately, with the global supply chain issues with parts, these little microchips, it's taking longer and longer to get these modems built and shipped to us.
Right, and the last question through here, probably on a lot of people's minds, but for this solution, what does pricing look like?
Pricing, again, it's based on size and scope of the project. What's all involved? Is it a simple ELD or is it a full-blown fleet management solution that we're deploying? We'd be happy to meet with anyone to discuss their unique situation and give them a proper quote.
Right, awesome. So unless there's any more questions that come through, I think that's all that we have. So at this time, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to attend today's presentation. I hope you've all secured some valuable takeaways about ELDs to keep in mind moving forward. Jason and Mike, I'd also like to thank you on behalf of AssetWorks once again for sharing your expertise with everyone today. As you see, contact information is available here if you have any follow-up questions for the group. But in the meantime, I hope you guys all have a great day, and we look forward to having you with us next time.